This is a lot of work. It's hard. People don't realize how much it takes, and good luck. Hopefully this works out for you. And I had to genuinely take steps back before I replied. Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. So happy to be here. It feels like it was 2 weeks since the last time I talked to you guys, but it's only been a week. That means I need to start making more content. Thank you so much to all of the new subscribers and everyone who's taken time to watch the videos. I'm so glad to hear that you guys are finding so much value in the content that I'm producing, and I cannot wait to dive deeper and just share so much more information with you. For today's video, we're going to do a little bit of a get to know me, hi, hello, let's introduce ourselves again, as well as answering some common questions I had over the past few weeks and kind of talking a little bit more in depth about some topics. I think that it's important when you're consuming content from somebody that you have a good understanding of what their business model actually looks like. Lately on YouTube, especially in the reseller community, there's been a lot of talk about transparency and making the idea of what you're doing as a reseller really transparent to people who are either just getting into the field or have been in it for a little while and are maybe looking for a new platform to sell on or a way to pivot to kind of enhance their business. And I just wanted to do that. I want to dive deeper a little bit into who I am, what my business actually looks like, as well as talking, of course, about some more information. I always want to give you something valuable. There's not a video I want to produce that at the end of it you don't have at least one nugget of information that you gained. That's always my goal. So we will talk some tips and tricks, and then I also want to talk some goals. I want to kind of help you guys understand where my business is moving, so you understand the videos I'm making and the way that I'm kind of giving you content is also in accordance to actually what's happening within my business. Then we'll chat a little bit about what next week's video is going to be. I'm really excited for next week's video. Again, we'll talk about it at the end, but it's going to be a lot more in depth of things you kind of should know before you get into whatnot. Stuff that I think that is really, really important. And if you're looking at this list of things I can give you and you're not hitting at least half of those points, then you can know right off of the bat whatnot just might not be for you. And I think that's going to be really, really helpful for some of you that are on the line of, do I start this new platform or is this maybe something that is just not for me? But let's get into today's video. So first off, hi, my name's Amanda. I think you guys know this by now, but I just wanted to formally introduce myself a little bit. I know there's some people who are watching me who know me from whatnot or maybe from regular life, but there's also going to be a lot of you guys that are new faces that I've never seen before, and I just wanted to give you a little bit of a hi, here I am and who I am kind of thing. So first off, like I said, my name is Amanda. I go by Resell Maven on almost all platforms, so if you are looking for me somewhere, that's probably what I'll be under. I actually just celebrated my 35th birthday, so mid-30s, here I am. I'm living it and loving it, and life is hard. I'm not gonna lie, life is hard, but we're making it work. Every year there's a new curveball being thrown my way, but managing it is part of the journey, and I just kind of keep putting in those positive vibes and putting in the hard work, and good things will come to me. So that is my motto in life. I have a family. I have a boyfriend who you see does some of the videos. He does shipping with me as well, so you'll kind of see him hanging around. And then we have 2 children. They are my stepchildren, but they are mine. I love them. 2 sweet boys. So we have a fun family, and we always are doing something, so that's always fun. And then I have 2 cats, Miley and Carbon. You may tell I have a nice red golden glow today. That is because we spent the day at the beach, which is where I love to be. So hobbies for me include things like being outdoors. I love hiking. I know people say nobody loves hiking. I love hiking. I don't get to do it nearly as much as I would like to. Love things like hiking, finding waterfalls, caves, I don't know. I just love being in the woods. It's one of my favorite things. I also love things inside like puzzles and board games. I love a good strategy game. Even a good quality video game is always great to snuggle down on the couch and get into. But overall, my big hobby is just experiencing new things. Traveling, of course, is top up there on the list. Not something I get to do nearly enough of these days, but hopefully in the future, as we all wish, travel will be a little bit more abundant in my life. But that's just a little bit about me. Hopefully you guys can appreciate that. Just like to give a little insight. So many new followers these last few weeks that it's just been overwhelming, and I do also want to make a personal connection with you guys. So that's a little bit about me. Let's get back to business. So let's talk about about how this whole thing got started. So 2020, who remembers that year? Anyone have anything they remember from 2020? Yeah, 2020 was the year. Pandemic hit March 2020, and over the course of the summer, I eventually got really bored, and somehow I think I came across some books from my boys, and I decided to like list them on Facebook. I think I listed a few things on Facebook, but books was the main thing that I had like kind of made a lot of. And someone came and bought the books, and they were like, do you have more? And I was like, yeah, I have some more. I'll probably post some more up here in the next couple days. And so I did. I posted some more books up, and then those got taken. And then I started noticing I had ran out of books, but everyone was like, do you have more? Do you have more? Like, it's such a good deal. And like, do you have more? And I was like, no. And I was so confused. And then it hit me that like schools were closed, libraries were closed. There was no public openings of anything where you could go and like buy books, rent books. You couldn't go to the library. You couldn't go to Barnes and Noble. School wasn't open. Long story short, I ended up realizing that we were opening some things around me, and one of my thrift stores was opening, and I found some great book sources here. So I started buying books and doing the same thing. I would basically take all the books, carry them up my flight of stairs, go into my living room, and start organizing them into piles. And so I would put chapter books in a pile. I'd put picture books of certain types of picture books. I'd put series sets together. So when I'd start up, like Babysitter's Club, I would put all the Babysitter's Club together, whatever it was. And so that's how I started. I just was like swimming in books, and I was putting lots on Facebook Marketplace. That is what my main gist was. So I would take a bundle of books that were for a certain age range, maybe like say it was chapter books. And so I'd pick chapter books that were in a certain theme, maybe for like a 6 to a 9-year-old girl, right? And so then I would put like 12 chapter books in a stack, and it would be like $5 or $6. Like, I mean, my margins were so small, but I was selling so much of them that it was easy because I was getting so many books, and I was just like selling them. And then some things I would price up a little higher. And then over the course of the following years, of course, I learned what books were valuable, what were not, what moved, what didn't, what people wanted, and what was just kind of bottom of the barrel stuff. So that's kind of how I got into it. It was just a matter of I had resources that people didn't have access to, but nonetheless, my living room very quickly began to look like a library. It was covered in books. I had bought shelving for these books. The shelves had then got packed. I mean, I was running out of space, and it was getting out of control. So cue about, 5-6 months in the future. It was around February 2021 that I actually got this office space. Again, during the pandemic, got an amazing deal on this little office space, and was able to now convert this into what you now know as my office. So here I'm able to store all my books on the shelves. I do my live shows from here. I ship and pack from here. Everything that needs to be done can be done from here, which keeps my home completely separate. Since that time of starting with books, I've dabbled into plushes, stuffed animals, Disney items, which I was really big into for a little while, was Disney pins, figures, plushes, collectibles, anything Disney related. And then primarily toys, educational material, a lot of stuff that's good for like homeschooling or childhood development. I really loved selling, and I do still sell. So those are the main thing. About a year after I got this office space, I discovered Whatnot. And ever since then, my life has kind of changed. So I was selling on eBay and Facebook Marketplace almost primarily at that time. And then I discovered Whatnot. And when I discovered Whatnot, ironically, I had most of this set up, but I didn't start selling books on Whatnot. I thought, oh, I'll sell like yard sale items. I remember my very first show. I mean, I had everything that you would find at a yard sale, even including like an Xbox 360. I brought all the good stuff to the show, and it was a good show. And then I started dabbling in Disney, and I started learning about Disney pins, and I got Tsum Tsums and plushes and collectible figures, like sets of figures, like the entire set of Lion King. And I did that for a little bit, and then I kind of learned there was a book category, and I thought, well, why am I not in the book category? This is kind of what I do for my main living. The Disney stuff is like secondary. I was doing one show a week, and that was it. And I was primarily selling books. So then I realized, well, I should probably join the book category and start selling there. And I did a few shows, and it was good. And of course I learned along the way. When I started in Whatnot in the book category, I would be one of maybe 2 shows a day in the book category. I would be shocked if there was even another show that day. That's how limited it was. There was a handful of sellers. I think on average, like a busy day in the book category, there was maybe 3 or 4 shows that day. Now it's very rare that you get on Whatnot and there's not 3 or 4 shows in the book category category going on at any one time. So I'm just really happy to have started back in the category back when it was so new and fresh, because I feel like I've just been there since the beginning and I've really been able to watch it grow, and it's been really incredible, which I think is another point that makes me a really reputable source when talking about growing in a category on Whatnot, as far as how from start to finish so much has changed in just 2 years, and how I can kind of tell you like a fast forwarded version of everything I experienced in 2 years, because there was a lot of ups and downs. There was moments that I thought I would quit. There was days that I said I'm never doing a show again. I mean, that is definitely the reality of apps like this from time to time. But in the meantime, since I have gone on to sell in the last 2 years, over $100,000 in sales on Whatnot, which is absolutely incredible. I've accumulated that over the course of 337 live shows. And from those shows, I've packed over 13,000 orders. And over the course of the time, I've gained a following of just under 6,000 people. And that has just been incredible. I like literally love so many of the people that come to my shows. I look at them as friends. They're people that I talk to outside of Whatnot. We check in on each other. We make sure, you know, we're doing okay. And it's just really, really incredible, the general community feel of Whatnot. I love the friendships I've made, the bonds I've made, and it's just kind of an incredible like experience I've never had before. So super, super thankful for the trajectory that my life has taken since finding and discovering and being able to successfully start selling on this platform. So when I talk passionately about it, or I say, oh, I'm making so many videos in the future, I'm not exaggerating. Like, I'm not a one and done Whatnot person. I'm not really on eBay or Facebook or these other platforms. I'm really solely focused on this, and it's like kind of my mission. So I want to share so much information with you guys so that you can either join and be successful, or up your sales and continue being successful on the app. So like I said, Whatnot is my main source of income as well as my main passion and priority, but I do have a couple other places that I sell and things that I dabble in. And so I just wanted to share those with you. First up, eBay, of course, is kind of on the list. I sell very, very, very part-time on eBay. I may list a handful of items every couple of months on eBay, and then every month I probably sell a handful of items. I think I have under 90 things listed, 90, like 90 things listed on eBay right now. It is just a very, very part-time thing. As I mentioned, I started on Facebook Marketplace, so I do still dabble in that. I have listings from time to time, or there's certain things I know sell really well on Facebook, so I will put things over there. I have an amazing like seller profile over there, so I do like to sell occasionally just to kind of keep myself active on Facebook. And I also have a Facebook group for my local in-person business. I actually, next door to my little office space here, have a secondary office that I rent out, and that is actually an in-person storefront where I have shelves just like this all around the walls, and that is for people to come in locally to where I live, and they can actually shop the store. Now, I'm only open 2 days a week, and quite frankly, I am actually phasing out of this business. So if you have questions about starting up sort of a brick and mortar and how that goes, I actually have a lot of insight for you, and I know how to be successful. I have chosen not to be. And you might say, why? Why would you choose not to be? It's not my passion. I learned very quickly after I did all of the work, spent a lot of money and a lot of time, and built that storefront, that about 2 weeks after it opened, I said, I don't know if this is for me. It was very embarrassing. I had this like aha moment. Now, mind you, I actually was kind of forced into this store. I had already had this long-term plan 2 years ago when I started, that I wanted to have an in-person store, and I knew that. But the problem is that in this little office space that I'm in, there is very limited rental space, and the store across from me, the people that were there had been there for about 17 years or 20 years, for a long time, and they were leaving, and they had a real estate guy come in and begin to start processing this building to take over the renting from the landlord. She said she's tired of doing it. They have a business in the back, but they were tired of doing it, and they wanted to like give it to somebody else to do. And I knew that as a red flag immediately. I said, they're gonna raise our rent. They're gonna come in and bring random tenants. They're gonna come try to start monitoring the space more. And I did not like that. And so I just was like, hey, I'll just rent it from you now. Ironically, I sold something on Facebook Marketplace, and the girl that I sold it to was looking for office space. I just happened to mention something about it, and she goes, I'm looking for a space. She ended up renting out almost the entire upstairs floor. I rented across the hall. There's 3 of us in this entire building, and it's amazing, and I love it. There has so much potential for there to be 5 or 6 or 7 businesses in this building, and right now there's 3, and it's incredible. So with that said, I jumped on that office space when I was not ready for it, and so I now have the office space. I renovated it and did all of the work. I pay the rent on it and all that stuff, and I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't ready for that stage in my business because I don't want to do the marketing. I don't want to do the advertising. I don't have a passion for it right now, and I hate saying that so much. I just don't. I like selling online. I like my schedule. I like what I do on Whatnot. I like this better. So with that long-winded story, the point of that is that will eventually be a flex space. So I will use that as overflow for my inventory. So I can take some of the stuff out of my office here and just have it over there as backup inventory. I'm also going to turn that into an entire photo station because eventually I will be upping my presence on eBay. So there'll be a set up photo station over there that does not need to be broken down. It can just stay up, which encourages me to actually take photos. And then I can just also use it as any sort of flex space I need that I am paying a very reasonable amount a month on, and use it to basically generate more money versus having it just as the storefront that isn't really bringing in any money, because right now I'm paying rent on something that's just really not generating that much income. So I think that eventually that store is going to transition, and I'd love to take you guys along with that. So those are the places that I'm selling in right now. Again, primarily Whatnot. Like 99% of my income comes from Whatnot. That's why I'm very focused on Whatnot topics, because this is what my life is. It's literally a constant Whatnot auction. Let's go ahead and switch over to talking about some of my goals for the next coming months and maybe even year or two, so that you guys can kind of understand the content I'm making as far as how it is supposed to be valuable, and I want to share information with you, but I am also documenting a little bit of my life. And so things that are happening, we'll have breaks between having just videos on Whatnot as well as like little catch-ups, like what's going on, what progress are we making within the office, what goals are we trying to hit, and how are we accomplishing them. I want to share that kind of stuff with you as well, because ultimately the goal is to get from 1 video a week to 2 videos a week, and then inevitably long term I would love to be able to do 3 videos a week. That is my ultimate goal for right now. 1 video and then maybe 2 coming up, hopefully sooner than later. But that's goal 1 then, I guess. So main goals though so far, the first one is that I really want to maintain the level of growth that I'm at. So currently with Justin coming on board and helping out with shipping, I am at a little bit more of a maintained level. So I'm not looking to grow per se, but I don't want to go below what I'm selling. I really want to stay right in the sweet spot that I'm in, because what's happening is you might sell a lot, especially if you sell bundles, but you have to pack that stuff up. You have to ship it, and then ultimately you have to go back out and source more of that, and you have to basically just have that on rinse and repeat forever. So I really want to just kind of maintain the level that we're at. I would really like to increase things around the office, like small changes around the office that increase productivity, because right now there are some things that are in place that I feel as though are hindering our productivity a little bit. And a big one is going to be my workspace. So there is 1 workstation, because I used to be a solo business. I was doing it all on my own, and I only needed 1 space. And now I think with both of us packing from time to time, 2 workspaces is really going to be the most efficient. I also have this couch in here that just does not need to be in here. I don't use it. I use it for storage. It's really in the way, and I overall want to take this entire shipping room and just switch it to being a little bit more functional, so that we can take this kind of daunting, not so fun part of the business, which is the shipping and packing, and make it a very flowing, functional process, so that we can just knock it out, and that's not going to be so much of a time waster. My second goal is that I actually want to maintain / increase my sourcing. Now, cash flow, if you've been in business for a little while, you understand what cash flow is. It's basically you spend money and you bring money in, and you want to make sure that those numbers are balanced in the right way, right? You don't want to be spending more than you're making. So I want to make sure that I'm maintaining my cash flow by still still bringing in good quality inventory, but also making sure that I'm selling it in a timely manner. So I have this storage down here on the ground, and what that is just, I can't sell every piece of book. Every single book that I buy every week, I can't sell every week, because then I would be constantly in a state of, well, what if I can't get books? Short little introductory story here. About a year ago, last summer, I believe, like this time last summer, my main Goodwill that I sourced from took all of the books out of the store, and they didn't put books on the floor for 2 months because they were redoing the way that they locally source and get books. I don't even want to get into the details of it. It was so annoying, but I went about 2 months without actual constant inventory, and it was a struggle. Like, my main source was just dry. And so I had to find other alternatives. Like, I actually went a state away down to North Carolina and sourced all over the state of North Carolina in one like day and a half just to try to get inventory. Like, that's how bad it was. So I want to maintain that inventory, keep a good solid backup supply, and keep that cash flow constantly coming in. And with that kind of goes into my next point, that I want to be just more financially aware of the numbers in my business. I just really want to be mindful of how much I'm spending, how much I'm making sure that I'm paying myself an appropriate amount, that I'm saving for taxes, that I'm putting money to the side for emergencies and things like that within my business. And just, that's a big goal. And I've already been making great steps in the last 4 months or so to really get into that position. But next year, you know, taxes will be upon us before we know it. And you just don't want to be in a situation where you owe thousands of dollars to the government and you have no money to give them, because it's just a stress within your business. So that's a big goal for me as well. All right, so now let's just move on to some quick Q&A. I had a few questions that I kind of overwhelmingly got, like whether it was through Instagram or on YouTube. I was getting questions from people asking kind of a lot of the same stuff. So I wrote down a list of just a few things that I felt like stood out to me the most, things that you guys had asked questions about the most, or just wanted a little bit more information on. So I just wanted to talk about that stuff just a little bit more. Like I said, this video was a little bit more of like a hi, get to know me. Here's what's going on personally within my business versus like just here's how I sell on Whatnot. I wanted to kind of chat with you guys a little bit more. So I hope you're enjoying this video. If you are, please consider hitting that like button just to kind of tell YouTube that this is a good quality video. And definitely leave a comment below saying something. Maybe tell me what state you're from, how long you've been reselling, what you resell primarily. Is books your main thing, or do you sell something else as your main category? Just trying to always create a community feel, and I love interacting with you guys. It's been so much fun getting to kind of chat with you guys and hear your point of view on things and your experience in situations, and being able to just kind of start a dialogue. So I really enjoy that. I do respond to all my comments, so please leave a comment and I'll love to interact with you in the chat. So the one biggest comment that I got overwhelmingly was that this is a lot of work, it's hard, people don't realize how much it takes, and good luck. Hopefully this works out for you. And I had to genuinely like take steps back before I replied to like some comments and some messages that I received, because I thought it was like genuinely funny, and I kind of wanted to just be like, LOL, ha ha ha, like you must not know anything about me because like I'm very successful in what I do, and I've been doing it for long enough to know a lot of information. Anyway, that was my big comment that I got a few times, which was just kind of like negativity of like, this is hard work and most people don't understand it. Well, that goes back to the transparency that I was talking about, that people are kind of demanding from resellers. I'm noticing that people just kind of want more of a realistic take on how this whole thing works. And so realistically, I just gave you my numbers. I've sold over $100,000 in sales. I dabble in a few other platforms. This is my full-time job. And so yeah, it's hard work, but this is my full-time job. This is what I do. So I come to work and I work hard, and I'm building something for myself, and no one else is going to do it. So I've got to do it, and I love it. So I don't really have a problem with that, but I just thought that was so interesting, kind of like the innate negativity of like that, you know, you're going to learn soon enough. And I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, maybe one day I'll have a realization that this just isn't working, but I just don't see that happening personally, on my opinion, I think that, yeah, there's one thing about having faith, right? That, oh, I know I'm going to succeed, or I just have a good feeling about it, or how could I fail? You know, there's a bit of delusion when you start like a business or start working for yourself, especially in the reselling field, because I think there's so much to reselling that people don't know. They just think it's buying something and selling it. There's like this whole curtain that you have to pull back to learn. But the point is that yes, books are laborious. Books are labor intensive. It is a lot of work. I am not naive to that. I've been doing it for a few years, so I think I kind of picked that up by now. But I think there's a lot of ways to make it easy for yourself. I think there's ways to put in systems and processes that make the flow work. And so to each their own. Some people are going to be really good at something, and some people are going to fail at the same exact thing. Not everybody's meant to do the same things in life. I think I'm meant to do this, and I think I do a really good job at it. So I'm going to keep pushing forward on it. Another question I got was the metric thing. Like, how do you do metrics? How do you determine what books you pick up and what books you pass? I actually have a quote here. It was by Gabe Drums. They said, the Stephen King book sells for $6.27 on Amazon, so I would never think to pick it up. Great point. Now, just for context, a book that sells for $6.27 on Amazon as a seller, not a great margin. You're not going to make a whole lot off of that. Now on Whatnot, I can sell that same Stephen King book, let's say for, you know, $3 to $5, and my metric is going to be a lot nicer on that because my fees are not going to be anywhere near what Amazon would take. So I think you have to remember that, you know, I can sell the same Stephen King book that you can buy for $6 or $7 on Amazon. I can sell that same book for $6 or $7 or $8 or $10 here on Whatnot, and I'm going to make more money because of the fee structure. So when it comes to my metrics for picking up books, I actually don't use any sort of like scanners or software. I'm just using my brain. I'm just using my knowledge that I've learned. And I am picking up books that have consistently sold, or I can tell might be a book I've never sold before, but I can look at it and go, this has a great plot. This is in good condition. This looks new. This looks like it was just published in the last couple years. I'm familiar with authors a lot more than specific books even. Like a certain author I might pick up versus a book, or like Stephen King. I don't know really anything about Stephen King books because I don't read Stephen King, but I'm going to pick up every Stephen King book. Why would I not? Because he's a great author. People like him. Someone might be looking for any given book by him at any given time. Kristen Hanna is another one. Like Kristen Hanna is really popular. She writes really, really good books. And so I'm going to pick up every Kristen Hanna always because they're all great books. It's the author. It's not the book. So I think focusing on authors that sell really well and doing your research on like popular authors is a really big way to kind of start learning metrics without having like a scanner or some sort of software to tell you, you know, what books are selling. As far as like kids books and things go, popular themes, like some stuff, like here's an example. I have like this Paw Patrol book right here. Paw Patrol sells really well for me. He very rarely actually ever makes it over to the shelf. Dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are so popular right now. Kindness, empathy, potty training. Those are titles and categories I'm going to always pick up because those are the things people are asking me for. With maybe like young adult books, right? There's so many young adult books. I know what things are going to sell quicker than others. Young adult fantasy is going to sell a lot faster than young adult romance. I don't know why. That's just kind of the way that young adult trajectory is. It's more geared towards the fantasy than the romance. So yeah, I'm gonna talk more about that, of course. I know my battery's about to die, so like I can't get super into this as much as I wanted to, but the metrics is just based on doing it. Picking up an item, attempting to sell it, seeing if it moves, and then if it never sells over the course of like 6 months, maybe never pick that up again. And I learned so much of this business just through trial and error. There is no scanner, there's no system. It is just trial and error. Okay, another really big request was organization. How do you keep everything organized? So the big one for me is Post-it notes. I use Post-it notes for everyone's order. So I write down their name, their screen name, I put it on their pile, and that is how they have their pile started, and I just keep adding to their pile. And then when they cash out, I take the Post-it note, I stick it on the very top of the pile, and that is their little bundle. I also have little plastic name tags for people who are like super regulars that come in every week and buy from me. So instead of having to write the name down, I just have like a little name tag, and that's really nice. It's also a bright color, so it's really like I can see it easily. And then I just keep everything very neatly organized. You try not to kick things and knock books off of stacks. When you do put listings in, they are, you do take a screenshot screenshot so you have an image of someone's pile. So gosh forbid you're picking stuff up and moving it to ship and you drop something and you go, oh my gosh, whose pile did this book go into? You can always reference a photo and just see like, oh yeah, that book did go into that pile. Perfect, problem averted. So organization wise, it's just gonna be about having space and being vigilant of simplicity, not making things harder than it needs to be. Just use name tags, keep it simple, and just try to naturally be a little bit more organized. If you're not in your normal life, use that as motivation in your business, that it's so much more inconveniencing to be unorganized than it is to just be on top of how you have your systems. Oh, something else was people asking about selling live, and some people saying, that's not for me. I don't want to ever sell live. Remember, you can always utilize the marketplace. So you don't have to actually go live. You can utilize Whatnot's marketplace just like you would Facebook Marketplace or eBay. It's a marketplace. It's you putting your items available for sale on a platform that people can discover. So there is that option as well. Definitely make sure you're Googling these things. If you want to know more information, Google Whatnot marketplace listings, and it'll probably give you a pretty good article on how you list in marketplace versus having to go live. So definitely utilize those resources. Oh, another question was books that don't sell. What do I do with books that don't sell? That was a big one. So I work with a nonprofit and I donate most of my books to them, where they sprinkle them throughout the schools located in my area. So they're just going to teacher classrooms and things. They're still readable. They're just books that didn't sell for me, so someone else may enjoy them. And then the last thing that you guys were not really asking me about, but people had kind of mentioned, it was about the idea of the community on Whatnot. I will say overwhelmingly in the book category, it is so kind. There is just so much positivity. People pass books to one another. Like if two people want a book, someone will commonly be like, oh, they can have it, it's fine. People give recommendations to each other. Oh, this is the last book I read, it was so good. People ask about each other. If someone says, oh, my husband's sick, or my grandfather just passed away, whatever it might be, we're encouraging, we're supporting each other. People will be gone and we'll notice, we'll be like, oh, where's so-and-so? They've been gone for a few weeks. And then they'll come back and be like, hey guys, sorry, life is crazy. And we're like, no worries, welcome back. And it's so fun. Just so much friendship has been made over this app. And so I want to say that if you are somebody who likes that, who is maybe even seeking out and looking for a community of people who are like-minded, people who love books, people who love to read, or people who just enjoy a way to maybe make a little bit of extra money on the side, this is a great category to be in. The book category is by far next to none, just the best. I have benefited so much, not just like emotionally, but financially, of course, and just in life. I've just grown so much by being a part of this platform, and I'm so thankful for it. So I really encourage people to give it a try. Okay, last but not least, I think I have 3 minutes before my camera dies, so I'm gonna spit this out super quick, and then I'll catch you guys next week. Next week's video, we are going to talk about the things that you must know in order to be successful on Whatnot. Whether you're just getting started or you've been on Whatnot for a little bit, I wanna talk the things that are going to help you grow your sales, grow your audience, grow your retention, and increase your successfulness on this app. I don't know if successfulness is a word, but you know what I mean. So that is what next week's video is going to be. I want to give you all of the things that you need to know just right off of the bat, things that I think are non-negotiables. You must be doing these. You need to know this is even a thing if you don't know it already, and anything I can help you to like kind of push you in the right direction of successfulness. So that's going to be next week's video. I really hope y'all enjoyed this one. I want to say thank you again to all my new subscribers. I really appreciate having you here, and I can't wait to continue sharing my journey with you. I'm so glad to have been able to share a little bit about myself, and I'd love to hear from you guys in the chat. Again, let me know about yourself. Where are you selling from? How long have you been doing it? What do you sell? What's a fun, interesting thing about you? Let's get the chat going. Let's get the community going. I want everyone to be super successful on whatever platform they sell, and if I can help you do that on Whatnot, that is my goal. All right, I'll catch you guys next week. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit that thumbs up and consider subscribing if you haven't already. Have a wonderful week until then, and bye guys.